Hello, everyone. It's Dina with the Realize Foundation, and I'm going to preface this video by saying that we have some stormy weather, and I'm not sure if we're going to freeze up or have any connection issues. So I just want to say that from the beginning. If we do, we might re-record this or see what happens. But I'm here today to talk to Liv or Olivia Sain. She is one of our authors. And we're going to have a unique interview today because we're going to talk about what we talked about with all the other authors. And then we're going to have some updates for you at the end. So stick around and I think it's going to be a really good conversation. So welcome, Liv. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Excited to
So I'm
be
going to
here.
get our two questions out of the way, and then we can have
Okay.
the other conversation. But the first question is, what is your chapter about?
Well, ironically, it will make sense when I get into some things later. But my chapter is really about change. My title was, If You Want to Change Your Life, Prove It. And I wrote that I was in treatment 3 years ago because I struggle with alcohol use disorder and depression and anxiety and many other things. And I learned a lot in that treatment program. And I started writing books after that. I gave a TEDx talk and a commencement speech, and mental health and addiction really became my passion because I struggled with it for so many years. And, when I was doing well, I wrote that chapter because that's what I learned in treatment. And I basically took the treatment process and how it related to change. And basically basically how you navigate change was kind of like going through a treatment center, and which you'll learn more when you read it. But I was doing well for a very long time, and I wrote, that chapter in my book, and I was trying to live by those words, but COVID hit, and it affected a lot of people. And the speaking industry really changed that year. And I just basically started to drown again. And I did not follow those lessons. And to be extremely vulnerable and honest, when I sent that chapter, ironically, I entered another treatment center.
Okay, I'm going to stop you because we need to have another question before we.
No worries.
Okay. So my other question for you is, in writing what you wrote, when you wrote it, what was that like? Like, was it hard? Was it healing? Did you learn more about yourself through the writing process? Like, explain that a little bit.
Connection. Here we go. We're back. Okay. You can hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny because that chapter I wrote, I actually started writing it because I've been writing speeches for the past year. So when you read it, you might be thinking this sounds like a speech. But it kind of was. It kind of was a speech that I was writing. And it basically was all the lessons I learned in treatment. And it was about not only proving it to other people, but proving it to myself.
Yeah.
So bear with me. I'm just trying to remember all the questions that you asked me. Was it therapeutic? Absolutely. That's really one of the best ways that I should be coping as. I do love to write. I do love to speak. I do journal. I journaled everything that I learned in treatment, which is part of what you read in that chapter, that poured out in that chapter. And did it help me heal? I'm still healing, I still have a long way to go, but it is nice to have that chapter because it really is a reference for me. It is a way that when I fall down, I can go back to the lessons that I learned and pick myself back up. It's a lesson of where I've been and where I can go. And, I'm at the bottom of the mountain again. I am. And it's not until I reach that top am I going to look down and see how far I just came.
So I'm gonna kind of tell what I knew between when you gave me your chapter and to now, and then you can explain more. But um, Liv and I were supposed to do a interview a couple weeks or more ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she reached out to me and she's like, I really need to talk to you before we do this interview. And then the next thing I heard from you was, I'm going away for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so I expected for us not to have an interview from you for this book, and that I wouldn't talk to you until after the book launch. And then I got a message from you like 48 hours ago, and we had a long conversation yesterday about what's been going on. So I'm going to give you the floor and you can share what you would like.
Thank you. Yeah, and I apologize if I'm, there's just been so much happening for the past 15 days. So excuse me if I'm all over the place or I'm forgetful. I'm just I got a lot on my mind. But basically, I didn't also want to do that interview too because I felt almost like an imposter. I wrote a book, I wrote a chapter about change. And if you want to change your life, prove it. And I'm thinking, who am I to go on this live stream and talk about change when I myself need to change my life again? I am depressed. I am drinking a lot of alcohol to numb the pain. I am drowning. There's no way I could go on and be inspirational and motivational and teach people anything because I myself was lost. So I canceled that interview and I decided to go to treatment that week. And I was willing. I decided that I needed that treatment program. And unfortunately, it was not a very good experience. I'm not going to say anything about names or institutions or treatment centers. I'm just going to explain my experience. But yeah, I canceled that. I accepted treatment that week. And I successfully completed a detox program off of alcohol because what I did not realize, which a lot of people probably don't know, is alcohol and opiate withdrawal is the deadliest withdrawal you can go through. I did not know that you could die from alcohol and opiate withdrawals. And that scared me, which is one of the reasons why I was more motivated to enter a detox program because I would be monitored. I would hopefully be on the right medication. And I wasn't equipped to do that at home. What if something happened? God forbid there is a seizure and you go into cardiac arrest. So I went into treatment. And unfortunately, I was on a lot of medication that did not make me feel. I felt as if I was drugged up. I was sleeping like 15 hours a night. I was feeling mentally worse every day. And I was, when I went to the last treatment program, I felt better every day. And you're not supposed to feel worse. I felt physically fine, but mentally I was getting worse. And I'm thinking, this isn't normal. I shouldn't be feeling worse in the treatment center. And I'll be honest, I was on Keppra for seizures, Valium, Seroquel, Clonidine, and I think I can't remember how you pronounce it. If it's like Vistarol for sleep, whatever sleeping pill starts with a V, that was it. And every time I went and talked about the program, and I had a concern about, well, what do we, what's that? Can I prepare?
I know Liv is frozen, but hopefully she'll be back in a second. So if you're watching or listening to this, there's a really bad rainstorm where Liv is, and we were hoping we could get through this interview without losing our connection. But if she's not back in a minute, we may have to finish it at a later time. Well, I don't know if you can hear me, Liv, but I'm gonna probably just stop this live stream because what her story continues, and so we might have to have another live interview because it is a really important story about what she went through in this treatment center and then what happened when she did confront them about some things. And so I want to make sure people can learn from this story and know that if you're looking at going into a treatment center, um, maybe how to evaluate the program and how to compare them and how to find what's right for you. And so we will continue this conversation so you can watch the rest of it later. But thank you for watching and being here, and we will see you again soon. Okay.